Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 1 p.m. Central Time as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. It's always a fun ride. You can find us on the radio at icradio.media. You can also find us on television, Channel 182, Charter Communications, Abundant Television Syndicated, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com and all the social media sites. You just couldn't get away from us if you tried. You can also continue sending emails. We appreciate that. I got a whole bunch of them today about that Alabama game. Send Alabama. So you can send an email to Donna@donnasedge.com. Everyone's favorite talk show host in sports. This is AP Steadham. Hey, AP, how are you doing?
Hey, Donna, how are you? So glad to be on the show. What a weekend for college football.
Wow, it was a good one. Let's go ahead and dig in. Even Alabama fans are saying, what's wrong with Alabama? We should have won that at a better score.
Right. You know, Donna, when Kalen DeBoer first arrived on the scene, my feeling was that he knows offense. So Alabama, they had plenty of people returning, and plus Ryan Williams, a sensational wide receiver at the freshman at the wide receiver position. They were going to be able to score points effectively, produce every week. But defensively, his teams would always just play enough to win the ball game. And I'm afraid that's the way it's going to be for this first year edition of Kalen DeBoer's teams at Alabama. The defense, they're going to surrender quite a few points and maybe just hold off the other team. And the score is going to be close in some of these games, even when they're favored by 20 points or more. So that's what happened this weekend against South Carolina. South Carolina was coming off a horrendous loss, really. They only scored 3 points at home, Donna, against Ole Miss. And you're thinking, well, they're on the road against Alabama. They scored 3 points. Maybe they'll score 10, 14, I don't know, something like that. They just gave Alabama fits. There were some turnovers by Alabama. They took advantage. And but South Carolina had some turnovers as well to give Alabama the victory. And then they had the last couple plays at the end. There was an onside kick. It touched, I think, 3 Alabama players. They weren't able to grab the football. South Carolina recovered. They were making the final drive to maybe attempt a winning field goal. It was intercepted, the last pass by the Lenore Sellis, the quarterback for South Carolina. And Alabama literally escaped with a victory down to 27-25. So a lot of people aren't happy. But I would say this, Donna. If you look back at last year, if you recall, Alabama beat an Arkansas team. They had one win in the conference, correct? One win in the conference. They beat Arkansas by 3 points, and that was in Tuscaloosa. Mm-hmm. They played an Auburn team that had lost by 3 touchdowns to New Mexico State. Mm-hmm. Alabama had to win in the last minute of the ball game. So people are saying, well, this is not the standard at they have amnesia, Donna. Amnesia, because this happened at Alabama with Nick Saban as the head coach last year when they made the semifinals. When they played Michigan in the Rose Bowl in the semifinal game. So the Alabama fans, they're thinking the dominance. You have the transfer portal, the NIL. You're having talent move around this country. So you're evening out the rosters. So it's more competitive, Donna. And it was more competitive, last year. I just gave you 2 examples of 2 teams end up losing records. Alabama barely escaped with two victories. Okay, this year they lost to Vanderbilt. They couldn't escape. Vanderbilt scored 40 points, which included the return for a touchdown, pick 6. And then they're playing South Carolina, an unranked team, favored by 20-plus points. They escaped with another victory. So that's twice already this year. It happened twice last year. Alabama still made the playoffs. So Alabama fans, I think they have to look in the mirror and just say, let's keep it real here for a minute. But we're not dominate. We weren't dominating last year, and we made the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So Now, I know it's a different form of winning. It's some close calls, as I said. The defense, they can't seem to stop any offense, it seems like, Donna. So Alabama's going to have to win with their offense. They're going to have to hold on and survive defensively, stop the team on a few crucial drives, and see if they can score more points and win these ball games. But defensively, they just don't have it this year. They have a young secondary. They've been exposed. They make mistakes. And Donna, we always discuss this on the show with you. The secondary is the last line of defense. If you make a mistake in communication, never mind the athleticism and the skill to guard a receiver. If you make a mental mistake, more than likely it's a long play or a touchdown because the person's wide open and you can't catch them. Mm-hmm. So let's remember, Alabama fans, okay? The Alabama people. Alabama was not a dominant team last year, but they made the playoffs. They had some narrow escapes.
Well, you know something, different coaches also have different styles. And as if it wasn't that long ago when Coach Paul Bear Bryant was not the coach anymore, and every single coach they've had since him has been compared to him. And you can't do that. You got to let each coach have their own style. If he had the same style as Coach Paul Bear Bryant or Saban, then you would say he's copying him. So I just say, Coach, be you.
Right. And Donald, let's remember they beat Georgia. Alabama beat Georgia this year. Mm-hmm. Only loss for Georgia. And Georgia's giving up a lot of points at this point defensively. They gave up 31 to a freshman quarterback in his second start. Playing at home, Mississippi State traveled to Athens, Georgia, 41-31. No one expected Mississippi State, a team that's been struggling all year, to put 31 points on Georgia. No one. So there's been a shift in talent. So now you have these coaches, Donna, who were able to stockpile talent through the years. Not anymore. The second string players, if they're not getting significant playing time, they're transferring, and they're playing on these teams that need players, and they're improving their rosters, and so they're playing you and giving you a tough time.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. So let's start with the rankings, if those are out yet, and so let's start there, and then let's talk a little bit more about what happened this weekend. Right,
Don. This is the Football Writers Association of America. They only rank 16 teams, Don. So they have Texas at the top, SEC team at the top, undefeated, and they won the Red Rivalry game against Oklahoma. And I covered that game this past week, and I'll mention that down the road here. Oregon at number 2, they beat Ohio State in a 1-point ball game at Oregon. It was an exciting ball game. Ohio State at number 3. Penn State at number 4, who won in overtime, big comeback victory on the road in Los Angeles against USC. Then you have Georgia at number 5. I'm skipping number 6. I'm just going over the SEC teams. Alabama number 7, Tennessee number 9, LSU number 10, Texas A&M 14, and Ole Miss at number 16. Those are the teams in the top 16 for the Football Writers Association of America poll.
Mm-hmm. And I like that too, because our teams, so to speak, are basically dominating. So I think that's great.
Right. Yeah. So if you look at the SEC, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams in the top 16. That's almost half the poll, Donna. Mm-hmm. I mean, the SEC, they're beating up each other, but they're still maintaining their rankings.
Mm-hmm. So which of all the ball games played this weekend, which one surprised you the most?
I would think the biggest surprise for me was probably, I think Tennessee. Donna, Tennessee is still struggling offensively, Donna. And the 3 games they played against the SEC teams, we know that they're one of the top teams offensively in the country, but they've scored 17 in a loss, and 14 in a loss to Arkansas. Mm-hmm. They scored 25 against Oklahoma. 2 points was a safety. And then they went to overtime against Florida, team struggling, and they hosted Florida, and that's a big rivalry game, that series, of course. And they won in overtime, 23-17. So they scored 23 points with the overtime. So it's very surprising overall, not only the game, but the trend with Tennessee having difficulty scoring points now.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And you and I have been watching Tennessee for quite a few years now.
We have. We have.
I
Yeah,
don't think
we
this
like
year's going to
Tennessee.
be their year, but I mean, could be onto something next year.
Right. Well, Tennessee, hey, Don, they're winning. They lost the one game. Big game coming up against Alabama this week. They host the Tide in Knoxville. So they have a chance to continue the winning ways to beat a ranked team. Alabama's a ranked team. Tennessee's a ranked team. So they're still in a good position. They're just not putting up, against an SEC team. They haven't scored 30 yet. They scored 20, 14, and 25. So that tells you something about the competition in the SEC, a little bit stronger than some of these non-conference games, of course.
Let's talk a little bit about the Alabama-Tennessee game. What would it do for Tennessee if they won?
Yeah, I think that would really improve their confidence level, Donna, because Alabama's a big rival. Alabama has beaten Georgia. They lost to Vanderbilt. We know this. They played a close game against South Carolina, but they beat Georgia, which is a huge rival of Tennessee as well. And they have to go travel to Athens later in the season, in November, I believe that is. So that would give them, that always improves your confidence level, Donna. And that's important because Tennessee is talented. Better defense this year, which is really keeping them in the games because offense is sputtering at times, surprisingly, as we said. But this would help Tennessee's building of their confidence for their team.
Okay, let's be advocate. What will Alabama have to do to make sure they win and win big?
Well, I don't know about winning big. This Alabama team, like I say, defensively, they're having trouble stopping the other team. But if Alabama could cut the turnovers, they had some turnovers this weekend that kept South Carolina in the game. Of course, South Carolina had some turnovers against Alabama as well. So Alabama's the type of team, Donna, when you have a small margin, one turnover can lose the ball game. So Alabama's facing Tennessee in Knoxville. The crowd will be loud, boisterous. They've only beaten Alabama once in, 14, 15 years. It was a couple years ago up in Knoxville with a dramatic field goal at the end. So I think if Alabama can keep their turnovers to 0, they'll have a chance to win. I don't think I don't see Alabama dominating any team the rest of the season in the conference. I see they can win, but not dominating.
Bobby had a good analysis about this upcoming ball game. And she feels as if, because Alabama and Auburn is always going to be, but she feels like that Alabama-Tennessee is getting pretty close to being in the same realm as far as competition with each other.
Right. Donna, for some Alabama people and Tennessee people, this is the big game of the year because for Alabama and Auburn did not play for 40 years. So the rival was Tennessee. And you have the two states that border each other. And there's some folks, as you know, in North Alabama, they're Tennessee fans.
Yeah.
So this is important. Yeah, this is important for that part of the state of Alabama because there's some Tennessee fans up north, just south of the border of Tennessee. So it's important for them. This is the game circled on their schedule every year. They must be at this ball game.
And it will be loud, very, very loud. Let's cut into a commercial break. Can you believe already half the show? Okay, let's go into a commercial break. We're going to be right back. We'll be talking more football when we come back. Queen City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. at Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020. We're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
You ask and we listen. We're finally bringing the most requested offer ever. Get the queen size premium MyPillow, now only $19.98. MyPillow is made with patented adjustable fill. It adjusts to your exact individual needs regardless of your sleep position. It helps keep your neck aligned and holds its shape all night long so you get the best sleep of your life. But that's not all. Get our 6-piece kitchen or bath towel sets, only $25. Our brand new mattress topper as low as $69.98. Get our famous MyPillow bed sheets for as low as $25 and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get huge discounts on all MyPillow products, including the premium queen size MyPillow, only $19.98. That's the lowest price ever. Don't delay, order today. From all of us here at MyPillow, thanks America!
Donna's Designs offers a line of handmade memorial, wedding, and keepsake jewelry that launched back in 1970. I'm a self-trained jewelry designer, and I will work closely with you to create unique designs you can love and treasure for years to come. Whether that be flowers that were used in a funeral arrangement or stones you found on the beach at a memorable trip, call me at 256-659-4319, and let's think of the possibilities. Good afternoon. We are back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. We got your guy right here, AP Steadham. He's been with us a number of years. Now, AP and Kelly, as we see it, what's happening with that show? What happened last week?
Yeah, Donna, we had a great show because we discussed the Red River rivalry. That's Oklahoma versus Texas. So we had Kirk Bowles from the Houston Chronicle. He covered Texas many years. And we had Jenny Carlson, who was back with the Oklahoman. So that was two great guests. We had two different segments. and the Red River rivalry, which I covered this weekend. Texas dominated with a 34-3 win. Oklahoma is struggling in offense with the freshman quarterback Mike Hawkins Jr., and Texas had the return of their quarterback Quinn Ewers. And Texas is a very balanced team this year. Good offense, good defense.
Absolutely. I think a great addition to us as well. Okay, so I've heard a hint of basketball. Are we even thinking about basketball right now?
Right, Don. It always happens in October, the middle of the year, right before I always usually thinking about the Alabama-Tennessee game this time of year, the third Saturday in October. But they have the SEC Media Days for basketball this week in Birmingham. One day for the men, one day for the women, all the coaches, and they'll bring usually 2 players along with the head coach. So we get a chance to visit with them and discuss the season.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one right there, too. Remember now, also you can find, I forgot to mention this, Football Friday at 4, AP and Kelly as we said. So make sure you stay tuned for that as well. If you have any questions, go ahead and send them. Donna@donnasedge.com. Most of the questions this week came from Alabama fans, but almost an equal amount Tennessee fans. And then another equal amount, if you want to call Texas and Oklahoma.
Oh, okay. Texas and Oklahoma, new members of the conference. They're enthusiastic fans. Donna, that's a really unique rivalry. The seating at the old Cotton Bowl, Donna, I call it the old Cotton Bowl. They have a line at the 50-yard line. So you see orange if you're in the press box to the left, and then the red to the right, and it goes all the way down, all the way around to the other 50-yard line right in the middle. So 50% of the tickets for each team. It's really unique, and it's they have the bands. And Donna, the Texas State Fair is literally right behind you, next to the Cotton Bowl. Cotton Bowl is within the State Fair grounds. Mm-hmm. So you walk out of the stadium and you're at the State Fair. It was sensational. I really enjoyed it.
A good time. So let's go into a little bit more detail about that game. Were you surprised at the outcome?
Well, I was surprised that Oklahoma, because they were missing about 4 or 5 of their receivers. So that's difficult to start a ball game. You don't have receivers. But to me, their quarterback, he's a young quarterback out of Dallas, Mike Hawkins Jr. He's an excellent runner, very fast, elusive. But I think I would have, if I was the coach of Oklahoma to start the second half, I would have put in the better passer, Jackson Arnold. He was the initial starter at the beginning of the season. He was highly recruited. Dylan Gabriel was the Oklahoma quarterback last year who won that game in the last few seconds, upsetting Texas. He transferred to Oregon. They had the big win against Ohio State this weekend. But I would have put him in the second half because you wanted to challenge Texas down the field with a passing game. And because I didn't think there was any way they were going to drive the football the length of the field by running the ball. So that was my only question for the Oklahoma coach. But so I was surprised that they won by 31 points. I know they were a couple touchdown favorite, but I thought offensively Oklahoma would find a way to score some points, and they only scored 3.
You also, Rex has a question. Who wants to know your opinion on which one was that? Clemson. We got a lot of Clemson fans who are watching the show now. Yeah,
Clemson had a big win, played Wake Forest. I believe the score is 49-14. Cade Klubnik, Donna, he might be possibly the most improved quarterback in the country. He started off a little bit slow. Georgia beat him by a big score the first ball game. They weren't competitive, but now Clemson, they're playing much better, and I think that they're probably going to end up making the playoffs. And it's due to Cade Klubnik, the quarterback, becoming a better leader, a better passer, and that's significant for Clemson because if he was going to stay mediocre, I didn't like their chances to make the playoffs. I thought they might have got upset probably a few times in the ACC, but they look to be the leader. Miami's still undefeated, but they have a great quarterback, or a very good quarterback, Cam Ward, as well. So those are the 2 teams in the ACC. But Clemson, with the improvement in Cade Klubnik, they have a chance now.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to mention this too. Some of the Clemson fans let me know how things are going up in Asheville with the hurricane that came. It was only a couple hours away. They were pretty close. Clemson area has some downed trees and stuff like that, but not near what happened in Asheville. Our thoughts and prayers are with those folks still.
Right. Yeah, that was a terrible disaster.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, let's talk some more football. What else are you talking about?
Yeah, Donna. Looking at this, some of the games that were played, Missouri went up to UMass. They beat them. That was their first time playing UMass up there. So they had a big game up there. We spoke about the Tennessee, the Florida overtime victory by Tennessee, Alabama, South Carolina. Mississippi State was real competitive against Georgia. I was totally surprised by that 31 points. Now, Donna, the game that you're thinking, Vanderbilt versus Kentucky, before the season started, that's not one of the games that was probably on your radar. But Vanderbilt won again in Lexington with Diego Pavia, 20-13. They beat Kentucky. So that was a big victory for Vanderbilt because that's 4 wins, 2 away from reaching a bowl. And remember last year, they did not win a game in the conference. So they've already beaten Alabama and Kentucky, a Kentucky team that beat Ole Miss down in Oxford. So that was a significant win for Vanderbilt in their program. So they should reach the 6-win total, maybe more this year. They're going to surprise some more people. So I think in college football, looking around, there's quite a few surprises. Vanderbilt is right up there.
Yeah.
It's a surprise team. They had that letdown against Georgia State. Georgia State beat them 36-32, put 36 points on them. So I'm sure they're looking back at that game thinking we could have won. And the other loss they had was the overtime to Missouri. So Vanderbilt beat Kentucky. That was a definite surprise because Kentucky was a 12-point favorite. 12-point favorite at home. And Vanderbilt beat them. So double-digit projected wins against Vanderbilt they haven't held up. Alabama was a double-digit supposed to be a double-digit winner against them. It didn't hold up. They beat them. So Vanderbilt, they're a surprise team in the conference, I think. Ole Miss and LSU, great overtime game. Ole Miss was a favorite. Played down at Baton Rouge. Garrett Nussmeier, the quarterback, threw that pass for the touchdown in overtime. Kieran Lacey caught the ball. So LSU with a big victory because they already had the 1 loss. Now Ole Miss has the 2 losses in the conference. They lost to LSU and they lost to Kentucky at home. So that was a huge win for Brian Kelly and his team, overtime win. And I think that's all the games we had in the conference last week. But those were great games, exciting. In other words, it's not a good game for that fan base maybe, but they won. Now, Tennessee, they're not happy. They won overtime. LSU, they were happy because they were the underdog. They beat Ole Miss. Ole Miss is not happy, their fan base, because they lost in overtime to LSU. Alabama fans not happy, but their team won. It was an exciting, dramatic game, beating South Carolina by 2 points. Vanderbilt, double-digit underdog, won the game at Kentucky. They continue to surprise people. Georgia, not happy, but they scored 40 points, beat Mississippi State. So all these teams down in these fan bases, they're thinking, our team, we should win by more. I'm thinking you won the game. Be happy.
I've got a good question for you. This came from April, whose husband is a football coach for a high school in Georgia. And so her question was, which coach do you feel like was out-coached out of all the games this past weekend?
Out-coached this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And that's a relative term down it. Let's say, for instance, on a couple plays that happens, could be out-coached. Sure. And because, I was at the Texas OU game coaching, I would have liked to seen Oklahoma, as I said, play the second string quarterback. He was the first string quarterback. They didn't have the capability to drive the field. I didn't think running the football. And they needed somebody to go in there and challenge the Texas secondary. So I'm thinking, not out coach, but I think a move could have been made to help his team be in a better position to win.
Absolutely. We've got less than a minute left in this segment. How can folks find out more about AP and Kelly as we see it? How can they find it?
Check our social media pages. We usually put up the schedule. We're right here on IC Radio, 4 p.m. Central, APN and Kelly as we see it. We're also video. People can watch us now. So that's a new twist to our show as well. So we really enjoy being here on IC Radio, 4 p.m. on Friday, 4 p.m. Central.
Yeah, we're always glad to have you. Now, have you guys worked out anything with the Newscaster Studio?
Oh, yeah. Yes, Newscaster as well. We're on the Newscaster as well. They can find us there as well. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Absolutely. AP, thank you so much for being with us. You and Kelly do an awesome job. And you
Thank
do an awesome job all by yourself as well. But thank you again so much for being with us. Continue sending emails. Donna@donnasedge.com. Always glad to have you. And I hope you have a wonderful, super duper awesome, blessed day today. AP, you and Kelly take care, okay?
Thank you. Thank you, Donna. My pleasure.